Hey, what's up guys? Pattycakes here again, today with another Lost Sector guide. This time we're covering the Master Lost Sector Perdition, which is this one right here on Europa. Overall, I think this is one of the easier Lost Sectors to do. On the 1250 version, I've been able to get some really quick clears around 2 minutes and 30 seconds. This is actually where I got my current best Dragon Shadow roll the other day. And on the Master difficulty, you have to take it a little slower, but you'll see in the gameplay, I cleared it in about 6.5 minutes, which really isn't too bad. And that was even with a couple silly deaths. You could definitely go a little bit faster if you're cleaner. So the build I was using today for this Lost Sector is the Long Shadow Sniper Rifle. This one has rapid hit, triple tap, and a major spec. It's actually one of the best PvE snipers in the game. If you ever get a roll like this, be sure to hang on to it. For my energy slot, I'm using the Icolos SMG. This is one of my favorite SMGs in the entire game for PvE and PvP. And as you'll see in the gameplay, if you slot Warmind Cell mods, you actually have the ability to make Warmind Cells, which are super powerful. More on those in a little bit. For our heavy slot, we're going with a Lament Sword once again. This is probably the strongest heavy weapon in the entire game right now, and it's not too hard to get, you just need to follow a simple quest. For this Lost Sector, we have to deal with both Overload and Anti-Barrier champions, but there's only 2 Overloaded champions in the whole thing, and there's a lot more Anti-Barrier. So for this build, I actually chose to go with the Lament Sword, which is anti-barrier, as well as anti-barrier mods on my gloves for the SMG. So moving over to the armor, for our helmet, we have double sword ammo finder and a shield break charge. This one's really good for this particular Lost Sector because there's so many harpies with arc shields that every time we're breaking them with our arc SMG, we're going to get charged with light. Very strong for this particular Lost Sector. For our gloves, we have SMG loader, SMG anti-barrier, and cellular suppression. This is actually a really cool Warmind Cell mod. The way it works is that every time you tap a Warmind Cell with a little bit of damage, it sends out a wave of suppression energy that's sort of like a blinding grenade if you ever use those in PvE. Very powerful for crowd control. For our chest piece, once again we have the Dragon Shadow, this time with a melee resist mod, sniper damage resist mod, and Lucent Blade. Lucent Blade is the mod that allows our Lament Sword to charge that block up faster. It's really strong. The catch is you need to have another arc mod somewhere in your build, which we take care of on another piece of armor. For our boots, we have Invigoration. This one actually isn't necessary, but I just had an empty slot, so I figured I'd go for it. We have Sword Scavenger to get more sword ammo every time we pick up a purple brick, and Powerful Friends, which gives us 20 extra mobility to get that dodge back faster. The catch is you do need to have another arc mod somewhere in your system to activate it, and luckily we have both this Invigoration as well as that other Lucent Blade mod to take care of that job. Finally, for our cloak, we have the combo once again of Surge Eater and Thermal Overload, and then Protective Light. Anytime we're charged with light, which will be all the time from breaking so many of those Harpy shields, Protective Light's going to give us a really nice damage resist. This is really good for these higher level activities. And if you haven't seen how the Surge Eater and Thermal Overload combo works, these are both available from the seasonal artifact. That's this one right here and this one. The way they pair together is that anytime you use either a solar or stasis grenade, it can disrupt an Overload champion, and then when you do disrupt it, you get it back from the Surge Eater. So it's a really cool loop. You can keep throwing your grenades over and over again to take care of those Overload champions. Now the one slightly risky thing about this build is that we actually don't have any Overload weapons. Since there's only 2 Overload champions, we're fully relying on that combo on our class item to use our grenade to stun those Overload champions. However, if you do have problems and you maybe miss your grenade or it just doesn't work out for you, what you can do instead is to slot a scout rifle here in your kinetic slot, and then remember to put Overload back on your gloves. So I think that covers it for the build. Let's get into the gameplay. Okay, so in the first room here, there's going to be a ton of these arc shielded harpies. Use your SMG to take their shields out and then kill them. Since we're using the Icolos SMG, if you kill enough of them, you should also be able to make some of those Warmind Cells that are really helpful. You'll also come across our first yellow bar, which is the Hydra. This guy's super annoying. You do have the ability to kill him on this first floor, but if you don't kill him quickly enough, he's going to teleport away once you get into that back room and go up to the second floor, which means that he gets to pick on you later in the fight. So if possible, it's really nice to kill him on the first floor, and that's why the sniper rifle really comes in handy. One thing you'll notice here is that I'm being really disciplined about throwing my grenade. That's because I need to save it to make sure I have it for that Overload champion coming up. So for this Minotaur, we don't actually have any Void in our build, but the Lament Sword actually has the ability to do damage through the shield since it's an anti-barrier weapon. So what you want to do is hold up block to activate the ability, and then hit him with either a light or heavy attack and take him out. So with that last Harpy dead, we're pretty much done with the first half of this room. Take out your sniper and try to get in some hits on the Hydra. Ideally you kill him here, but it's not a big deal if he gets away. So once we cross into this room, we have a decision to make. You either need to play this really passively and let all the ads come to you and then use your grenade to take out that overload champion, or what I like to do is play really aggressively, go and get the grenade on the overload right when he spawns and try to sword him right away and then kill the rest of the ads. However, if you don't do it quickly enough, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, so you have to kind of figure out what works best for you here. I would say if you're under 1271, play the more passive way, and if you're over 1271, maybe try the aggressive strat. Now we just need to clear the remaining red bars on this floor, and then we're going upstairs. Okay, so your first little battle here is going to be with a couple red bars and then another overload champion. This one's really important to bait him towards you so you don't have to fight him in the open where the hobgoblins are hanging out, as well as the hydra if you didn't manage to kill it on the first floor. Right there you can also see that protective light buff from the Charge with Light system come in really clutch. I'm telling you, this is an amazing PvE mod to slot. With the Minotaur dead, it's time to take out the rest of the red bars and the hydra. If his shields are cooperating, you can usually take him out with just a couple more sniper shots. Okay, so at this point, it's tempting to push up into the room to try to take on the hobgoblins, but right as you cross a certain threshold, it's going to spawn another Minotaur, and since we don't have Void in this build, we have to be careful and try to get him with the sword right away. Also, it's going to spawn two red bar wyverns who are really frustrating to deal with. They're some of the tougher enemies in this entire Lost Sector, and this is where a combination of your super and your sniper are going to really come in handy. If they get you in melee range, they'll often one-hit kill you, so I find it better to take them at range. Okay, with both wyverns dead, the only enemies left in this room are going to be a couple red bars and then the two barrier hobgoblins. They're kind of annoying because they like to fight on the stairs and then in the back area right in front of the boss room. My goal in this section is to usually try to get them to pop that barrier shield so I can cut it down with the anti-barrier rounds, which temporarily stuns them, and then I can go for the sword to finish them off. But as you can see, sometimes they don't cooperate really well. The good news is that once you're done with this room, the rest of it's actually pretty easy. So on this guy, I kind of wasted my SMG on before he popped his barrier, but luckily we have the little Met that can also cut through his barrier shield. Just remember to charge up that block first so it does the anti-barrier damage. Okay, now we're on to the boss. You'll see here that I like to play it really aggressively and push to those back columns, which is where the boss spawns. That way I can catch him on spawn with my sword and deal a ton of damage to him, often enough to kill him outright. Even if I don't kill him right away, he's usually going to be weak enough that I can kill him with a sniper really easily afterwards. Now technically at this point you can just go pick up the chest, and on the 1250 version that's what I would definitely recommend to do because you're complete. However, there are a couple anti-barrier hobgoblins that spawn in this room, and I'm not sure what tier of rewards you get if you just pick up the chest right here, so I'd recommend killing them just to be safe. The way to play this is to focus on all the red bars first and then go for the champions. As you can see again, that protective light mod is so powerful here. It gives you that shelter by the void buff that you see on the screen, which basically saves my life once again. And then because of that shield break mod, we're getting our charge with light right back. It's a really powerful combination for this particular lost sector, and that could potentially help you clear it at a much lower power level than you might expect. So with the final mobs killed, it's time to go pick up the chest, and there you go. Easy 1280 clear. This run took about 6.5 minutes, which isn't too bad. I would say that's roughly average for the clears that I had today. However, I definitely see some opportunities where you can make this much faster on a cleaner run. Overall, I would definitely say this is one of the easier Master Lost sectors to clear, so I'd recommend giving it a shot if you're interested to try it. Let me know in the comments if you did try this one, what builds were you finding most effective? If you're new to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and also turn on notifications so you don't miss my next video. And also let me know in the comments what kind of videos would you like to see me make next. I have a couple PvP builds in mind that I'd really like to show you soon, so most likely I'll be working on those next. That's all for now. Catch you guys next time.